So let's move on to the second panel discussions. I would like to introduce Dr. Michael Chen as who is the moderator for this panel discussion from the EXCO member of the Enterprise Architecture Specialist Group, Hong Kong CS in Hong Kong, who is also the VP of the Technology Cao Mao Limited. So Michael, pass over to you.
Okay. Okay, welcome to our panel discussion. Thank you all. Thank you for the sharing. So our panel discussion is around elevating enterprise architecture, the nexus of the economic transformation and workforce evolution. So today we'll explore the topics, the symbiotic relationship between the enterprise architecture and workforce evolution, exploring how strategic alignment, the technological innovation, and the talent development intersect to drive the economic growth and organization success in the increasing digital world. So our distinguished panelists will share their insight how the enterprise architecture is shaped by the workforce evolution. So we'll examine the challenge and opportunities in a dynamic landscape and discuss the strategies for leveraging the symbiotic to drive the organization success. So let's begin our exploration of this crucial intersection and to redefine our future in a business. So let's introduce the panelists. So they will introduce themselves and share some their perspectives on their topic. So let's start from Chang Chai-Feng, who is executive committees in the Singapore Computer Society EA chapter.
Thanks, Mike. So I'm Chai Fang here. Hello, everybody. So today I will share from the position of SCS EA chapter executive committee. So as you can assume, I will be taking a biased position to be a strong advocate on enterprise architecture. So a short summary of my enterprise architecture journey. I started back in year 2000. So my company faced a situation that we spend most of our IT budget just to, like we call it, keep the lights on, for almost like 108 software system. So leaving very limited budgets to build systems for new capability. So I was then leading two staff, okay, to transform one out of the four segment of the IT system, and I'm responsible for almost like 40 systems. So because I only have 4 staff, right? So I basically classified the system into 3 clusters. So I named them as the strategic system, the operational system, and the tactical system. So a lot of people ask me, hey, why 3 clusters? Because I only got 3 staff. So because this is basically survival kind of approach and instinct. So after that, basically I draw a few boxes, of my 40 system and some lines, and then explain, their relationship. And my boss picked it up and he said, oh, wow, this is called enterprise architecture. This is the kind of blueprint we need to harmonize system. So you could take on this job and then transform the system. So next thing I know, the whole 108 system fall under my lap, and I was told to lead this setup called the Enterprise Architecture Office. And beside the 108 system, they also added 2 more other portfolio. So actually, I started my enterprise architecture journey by chance, I would say. So so you asked me if I look back, if I would summarize my survival strategy, will be, everyone. Basically, I put everything on one slide. Then when I started, and I focus on creating some orders from the chaos and the complexity, because by nature I'm an OCD person. So and with that, I think I started my journey. So, but my situation, I think, is not uncommon, because without enterprise architecture, or we call it the blueprint, a common blueprint that everybody can agree upon, it is very difficult to optimize IT costs across various IT projects. And then coupled with increasing challenge of talent acquisition, retention, change, new technology. So organization will never be effective or even unable to cope with emerging change or even competition. So the reason is a simple one, because we have to deal with a lot of internal conflict and alignment. So we won't have time to spend the right energy in the right place. So that is the tick I have. So then I move on to do training, because that's why I probably are the so-called called to talk about this topic. And I extracted many useful learning from all these years on enterprise EA thinking practices, and I instill that in different modules when I train my engineers. So so I'm supposed to respond also to today's topics on how enterprise. So I will reframe the I will take the topics from this angle about how enterprise architect, which is all of us here, I would say, would drive business growth as a form to contribute to the economic transformation and workforce evolution, because the big work are very big. Okay, so I need to frame it a little bit. So so the successful transformation to me, right, is really this thing I always take now, because I'm from an engineering firm. We will call it the system approach. Actually, it's just enterprise approach. So which will need to address not only the IT system, but also the human system. So while focus on some of the process improvement and digital adoptions are all very important, but equally important is to enable our people readiness. So hence, I think EA has evolved a lot. So in my personal view, I think now is the time, is the right time for the EA practitioner. We will need to embrace a lot more business practices, change management, even organization development, even leadership development. For all this, you know, like if you are like me that are practicing EA from an IT professional as a first principle, I would add one useful tools, which I think most of you might already used, is to get the ChatGPT on your EA toolkits lah, because it will significantly actually solve your challenges in explaining what is this enterprise architecture, why the bosses need to understand enterprise architecture, and then especially they are from the business domain and non-IT. So I think it is really a good time for enterprise architect. So I think if I would sum up with some pointers for your consideration, how you could really, you know, drive some of this transformation, will be to apply the practice. I think the very important practice is this thing called the strategic alignment. So this strategic alignment is a very big word, but you could always focus on business outcomes such as providing cost-effective solution to optimize operating costs, overcoming manpower constraint, maximizing your investment, maintaining your strategic edge, and enhancing digital experience, deliver at digital speed, or empowering continuous innovation. I think you heard many speakers, they give you many good examples. I think that is pretty important to make strategic alignment. The second point I would say is that gain some clarity on some of your processes and also potential risks in the operation, because you can start with first eliminating some of the legacy processes that don't add very high business value. And then you use the data to track and monitor with some key indicator that matters, that how your boss will define the success. And that's where you are able to draw data from different departments. And then you can actually help to flag out this operational risk. Sometimes they call the enterprise risk management or whatever. Try to pitch yourself at the organization level kind of risk. And that will help the EA initiative to be a lot more strategic and always ensure lean manning, and this could actually avoid some catastrophic business failure. And the last of all, I would say, when we apply technology or implementation, make sure it's smart. Okay, so when you apply it, maybe DA, AI, next time IoT, you know, or whatever come your way, you make sure that you do it at the enterprise level to enable some smartness. You know, the smartness must be the way to change how the human work. You know, that such as you basically you can focus on creating the capacity for the workforce. So once you create the capacity, the workforce, then the workforce can do more high value job. We always call it, you know, so you are able therefore to reskill and focus the workforce to make time, give them tools that they are able, or data that they are able to make timely decision, so that they are able to enhance their operation or services to the customer, which is very important. Actually, all customers are our bosses. And then therefore, you are also able to make sure that you reskill them to be productive, to create new, even revenue generating capability that must always ensure some form of lean manning. So I think with this, I will pause and I will hand over to Alecia.
Yeah, thank you, Changchai Feng. So yeah, let's welcome our second the panelist, Alecia, who is the Chief Business and Architect from ATT Solution.
Hi, yeah, it's great to be here. And just a little bit background, and I got my architect title first time 20 years ago. It was called a business solution architect. I guess back then there's not many architect yet officially, and I guess also my management couldn't decide whether it's a business or solution architect, so they put us together. And we have a title, but back then we are not given a job scope. So we have to figure out that what are we supposed to do. So I was working in a consulting firm, and I guess at the end of the day, we decided that, you know, one of the areas that we are trying to look for our customers is to align their business and the solution that we are trying to propose, and to justify for them the best business value. So that was how I first started. I find that business architecture is a very interesting journey, and I continue to hold on to that. And today with architectures, we have been talking a lot about business technology alignment, which is the main part of our enterprise architecture. But more importantly, I feel that as what the title have said, right, for today's sessions, that we're looking into also the workforce. So recently, I have been working on between business and technology alignment. And recently, the portfolio of the people fall into my hand. And I feel that in order to achieve business and IT alignment, we also need to look at the people, whereby people is the one who deliver the business capabilities for the organizations. Right, that is where we start to look at people, technology, and also our business, right, as a whole. So with that, I would say that EA is about the capability that we need to deliver for our business, for our future business. So in order to do that, we would need the support of technology, and also we would need the people who have the competency to deliver our business capabilities. Okay, so with that, yep, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Alecia. Our next panelist is Mr. Justin Yun, who is an actual member of Enterprise Architecture Specialist Group from Hong Kong Computer Society.
Hi, everyone. I'm Justin. I'm from Hong Kong Computer Society Enterprise Architecture Specialist Group. This is the group in Hong Kong to promoting enterprise architectures to the Hong Kong community. On the working, I am the session head and from data analytics from Hong Kong Trade Development Council. I lead the IT data analytics functions. Prior to the HATDC work, and I work in other public organization in Hong Kong and other multinational corporations in different areas, which including enterprise architecture, data analytics, integrations, IT operation, infrastructure, security, and application development. So quite a lot of area that I involved before when I come into the architect. Actually, from my experience, I'm quite believer to the enterprise architect, because for my previous job, it was a greenfield project. There's a minimal application system, and I leveraged an enterprise architecture framework, TOGA framework, to establish all those applications from scratch. And then with the team that involved, then we can clearly define our roadmap and actually establish it. It is not just a framework on the sky. It actually practical and can help us. Related to today's topic about evolving workforce and economic transformations, and I can see that this is quite different and quite drastic change in these few years. Especially, for example, in my organization, on the workforce, there are usually generalized that there are two types of people. One is working in the organization quite a period of time, loyal employee. They tend to using the system that IT provide and IT promoting to them. We are pulling them to use the technologies. On the other hand, from the new staff, from the new generation, they are tech savvy already. They know many stuff about IT. They get used to the IT applications. They are usually think we are relatively they are asking for more stuff. They are pulling us, push and pull force in our workforce. So there's quite a alignment that we have to do it. It is challenging to us, But on the other hand, it's an opportunity for us to show the EA value. And we may discuss more later about how we handle it. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Justin. Our next one is Dr. Kenneth Chen, who is EXCO member of Enterprise Architecture Specialist Group from Hong Kong Computer Society. And he's also the enterprise architect from the Group of Digital and Technology, DCH Group Management Limited.
Hello, everyone. This is Kenneth from Hong Kong. So it's good to be here today alongside fellow practitioners of enterprise architecture and the IT industry. As Michael already mentioned, I'm also a part of the EXCO team of the EASG group within the Hong Kong Computer Society. A little bit about my background. So I've been in the consulting industry for over 10 years, working, focusing mostly on technology. And I've came in touch with, let's say, enterprise architecture TOGAF framework maybe around 12 years ago when I first got my certificate, which has definitely helped me back then by my career for putting together interesting content in the proposal as well as working on solutions for our clients. Around 2 to 3 years ago, I've joined the DCH Group, which is 70 plus years old conglomerate in Hong Kong with a business presence in I think around 13 different markets across Greater China and Southeast Asia. Given the age of the enterprise, right? I mean, there was definitely a lot of things to do, and I was when I first joined the company, right? I was tasked to really figure out, right, what was sitting like behind the hood, right? And there was a lot of challenges, coming from a state where they didn't really have a proper EA practice before. So getting all the inputs and really piecing things together took some time, but it really helped the organization sort of move towards the transformation goals in the later stage, and it's still ongoing. Obviously, it's not something that can be done like within 1 or 2 years, but progress are being made, and we're actually seeing the progress across the enterprise, and also the effects of actually having the overview, right, of the entire technology portfolio, so that we can synergize our investment, ensuring that we don't leave some gaps in the organization. So it's a very interesting topic today. When we talk about the digital transformation versus the workforce evolution, right? I mean, we all see this diagram when we talk about what does an EA do. There's this circles, the business and then technology, and EA kind of sits in the middle, right? And there are actually people on both sides of the big circles, right? There's people on the IT side, there's people on the business side. It's definitely a lot more visible to us on the IT side, right? I mean, we're moving a lot of things, we're changing a lot of things. Definitely, we need new skills, we need new people. I mean, just for my organization, right? I mean, because of the magnitude of the changes we've made in the past years, we've definitely replaced more than half of the entire IT workforce, which is good and bad news for depending on who the person is. And on the business side, right, there's also obviously a lot of changes, but there are some evidence that we've seen that I would attribute to kind of like gaps, right, in capabilities. Let's see, if we go to the business and we talk about process automation, or RPA, or workflows, etc. Some of them don't even know what to tell you, right? Because they have been like working in the business using whatever ways they've been for like 20, 30 years, right? And then you come to them with technology and they don't know how to react to it. So it's definitely quite a bit of a knowledge and skills gap that needs to be plugged in order for us to be able to achieve what we actually try to get out of the digital transformation. So let's see share some ideas, and also let's discuss the topic today.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth. Thank you all for the introductions and sharing. It's clear that we have a wealth of the expertise here today. And thank you for all of your insights, the sharing. Now let's move on to our next Q&A session. start from Chai Feng's perspective on enabling the successful digital transformation through to the enterprise architecture. So Chai Feng, how can enterprise architects enable the successful digital transformation? Sorry, you are on mute.
Right. Thank you, Mike. Maybe before we start, there are many definitions of digital transformation. So maybe we do a bit of, pardon me to take the simple approach to define it. So I would say digital transformation is a process that we will manage and using, leveraging on the digital technology to change how business will operate or even deliver values for the customers or the stakeholders, and making it more efficient, more innovative, and responsive, to our customer need, I would say. And some might say that just defining business process, you can call it digitization, and reshaping business model, you can also call it digitalization. So I think we are not so technical about it. So we will just broadly say how we transform the business. So I would say as an enterprise architect, digital transformations, we must really strive to deliver, if possible, some form of a game changer to really make the business really differentiated from the competitors. Basically, I would say like creating differentiated capability that will, maybe if you are in the profit-driven organization, is to make a bigger market shares in either your current industry or even a new industry. And government sectors, of course, for us, we want to enhance our delivery to our citizens, making government more trustworthy. So in simple language, I would say is to help organization to create capacity. As an enterprise architect, we have to learn how to create capacity to sustain differentiated capability with a lower cost. Okay, so there are many constraint factors, but that should be something we should strive for. And hence, we will be able to give better profitability or even credibility. So then, of course, the question is then how? So in the interest of time, maybe I will just say maybe there are possible 3 key tasks you can consider. One is maybe to motivate smart adoptions of technology intentionally. I think I will use the word intentionally because not all the technology works effectively, cost effectively for your organization, because some are very costly. Like a lot of people want to go AI, but AI is not cheap. So I think you have to know which piece of the AI or how you deploy your AI that will really deliver the desired business outcome that's relevant for your business context or your company. So there must be some clear alignment. So for enterprise architect to be able to be sharp, to define some metrics to with your bosses to see this is really the key success factors and how we measure it. I think this is probably important topics. You should have a good handle of it. And the second point will therefore be to enable smart implementation of systems. As I said just now, the system is not just the IT system, but also the human system. Sometimes we can have the strategy very correct, very right, but sometimes when we implement it, we just couldn't get it very right. And because the solution, sometimes we do EA sometimes for the sake of EA, or sometimes we want to just drive solution technology for the sake of driving solution. So therefore, the solution, we must be a little bit mindful and intentional that it must really, be able to help the business to transform. So the clarity must be there. So as we do these smart implementations, it's also make sure that we must put the human in the system to consider how we design the system that will benefit also the staff, the benefit the stakeholders, so that they will love the system and they will want to use the system, and they are also willing to go along with you, to be reskilled to deliver better value for the organization. So the last of all, I would say is that how then we can drive smart workforce transformation. So if we focus on the most expensive cost of the organization, which is really the workforce, the payroll. So with the workforce capability, make a break is either you make it or you can break the company, because it is a high ticket items. So I would think as an enterprise architect, I would suggest that this is really a sweet spot for the enterprise architect, because you can put yourself on the same level as a CEO, that what he's worried about, and how could you really add values, you know? And this is the piece I think that we should equip ourselves with more new skills, you know, to architect and transform the workforce. So skills such as how do you do organization change, how do you really structure the people, you know, how do you design the job nature. So these are some of the very handy discipline I would think that you could consider. So in short, right, to focus on just creating spare capacity for the workforce currently, unlock some of the bottleneck, and then design simple role that they are able to deliver higher value of services or products, you know, to your customer, existing customer, or even new customer. So back to you, Mike. I think I will just comment on it.
Okay, thank you, Chai-Feng. It's clear that the enterprise architects play a crucial role in driving the smart technology adoption, system implementation, and the workforce transformation. Now, Alecia, so can you tell us what are the main challenges faced by the most organizations during the digital transformation?
As you can see that when you count the number of digital transformation initiative in your organization, you will find that almost every department has their own digital transformation initiative. Some of the initiatives cover across various departments. However, most of the initiative projects are implemented in isolation to serve specific business objective or departments without looking holistically across the entire organization and across all the initiatives. So as a result, this caused a challenge, right? From the perspective of the business, technology, and also the people. So I very much agree with what Chai-Feng has shared. This resulted in business is not able to harmonize across the department. So meaning that each departments are focusing on their own operation, and sometimes they might overlap with other departments or have missing gaps. So as the customer travel through their journey with the organization, they find that the journey is very bumpy, right? Because the organization doesn't have a very good integration across the entire organization. Secondly, from a technology perspective, technology might be duplicated or not integrated. So this results in the data application and also the infrastructure are not able to support the new business capability that the organization want to deliver. Last but not least, which earlier on Chai-Feng also said, right, the people is the most important piece. So when people is not able to see the whole picture of the transformation and how does the value of the transformation or the initiative bring to them, they tend to resist the change. And I think the most important part is when people doesn't support the change, this will cause, you know, a big obstacles to the transformation journey. So these are some of the common challenge that the organization face during transformation. Over to you, Michael.
Excellent points, Alecia. Understanding the challenges is crucial to for developing the effective strategies. So Dr. Kenneth, so can you tell us how the business organizations leveraging the technology to tackle the recent geographical or geopolitical, political and economic challenges, and how can enterprise architects make the difference?
Right. So talk about challenges. So obviously geopolitical is challenging, continues to be challenging for since a couple of years ago, and it doesn't showing no signs of any recovery on that front, right? And we don't know what's going to happen next year or the next, and that's definitely been disrupting various things like supply chains, or even sometimes our considerations when we select technologies, right? And economy, unfortunately, there's also a lot of challenges, right? I've recently seen a report by the IMF saying the projected economic growth globally is in the next 5 years, it's going to be like the lowest numbers for decades, right? So it's still growing, but definitely not as as much as we hoped it would, which means for organizations, right? I mean, there's definitely a lot of pressure, around managing risk and also shrinking budgets naturally. But I think on the positive side, though, there's also no signs of kind of like the digital, it's still sort of high on the agenda, right? I mean, I've seen recently some numbers around like e-commerce is still growing significantly higher than physical commerce, right? And it's still it's still going very strong, which means the organizations, they are still kind of have to put their focus to it. And actually for some organizations, right, like digital transformation or adoption of technology to address some of the business issues has become a matter of survival. I mean, it's definitely all the way from driving competitive advantage to basically just optimizing the operation efficiency. I mean, these are all things that are perceived to be helped by technology, but obviously execution is very important. You know, that there are a lot of factors that needs to be considered. And a lot of that actually, you know, that gives like an enterprise architect kind of a very key position when it comes to things like you know, adopting new capabilities or things like optimizing your technology portfolio, or sometimes it's technology led. I mean, there are some new there's a new wave of you know, opportunities coming from Gen AI. I mean, definitely every organization is kind of investing or exploring how to leverage it, but it's going to take some time for people to you know, figure out the right way of adopting these technology and really finding business benefits from using it. But I think for enterprise architect, right, for every transformation, I mean, there's definitely a lot of dependencies, right, that then you need to put into the plans to address and to sort of transform together. And then like people is one aspect that is sometimes not as you know, looked after, and that eventually becomes kind of like a bottleneck for you know, the getting the results of the digital transformation. I mean that we've all talked about, you know, the difficulties in finding the right IT challenges, right, across the past couple of years. I mean, the problem is still there, and that is actually causing some problems for us to sort of move forward as quickly as we hope to. But then again, it's a very dynamic situation, right? I mean, a lot of things are happening across the world which are out of our control, and businesses are becoming more risk averse and sort of trying to make sure that they invest in the right directions, right? And for us, right, and for EAs, it's good and bad. I mean, good thing is like we are more important than ever, right, to help our organizations navigate their technology investment efficiently. But then on the not so good side is we get a lot of questions, right? There's a lot of things that requires our input to you know, to make the right decisions. So I think for EAs, right, that they are, apart from the you know, just managing the technology landscape, right, it's also very important to help keep everything connected. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, right, in every digital transformation. I believe Chai Feng and Alecia already shared a lot of important aspects, right, how to make it successful. But ultimately, right, that EA is the person or is the unit, right, that has the overview of a lot of things. And we are probably the kind of like the first people to see when things get disconnected in a digital transformation. And it's really up to us to you know, sort of pull together the right parties, right, to you know, to reconnect and make sure things heads in the right direction. So that is I think some of the observations I've seen in the recent years.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chen. It's fascinating to see how technology can be a powerful tool to addressing the global challenges. Now, Justy, so can you let us know how do the evolving digital technologies reshape the enterprise architecture, and what implication do these changes have on the workforce planning and the talent development?
Thank you, Michael. From question, there are two parts. for digital technologies, we shape the enterprise architectures. I echo this part first. Definitely, the enterprise architectures has to be changed because of the digital technologies. For example, in my case, if I use the toga framework, the same thing, the same approach 5 years ago, can I use it here? Definitely not. It will fail. There's a different area that impacting is reshaping the enterprise architecture or becoming the enterprise architecture requirement or concern area. The first thing is the enterprise architecture has to capability to adopt new technologies. The new technologies come out very frequent, different kind of thing during these few years. Cloud computing, AI, Gen AI, machine learning, IoT, all the things coming out. There may be another things coming out. So our enterprise architecture should be able to adopt the new technology into it. The second part is since that many moving parts, many new components coming, the capacity of the architecture is increased, and we have to take care of this carefully. Because we have existing system, how do we leverage the new technologies into our existing system? The integration parts that we have to take care of. And the third thing is the agility, because it's come so fast and traditional development approach may not be meeting our user requirement or business requirement. And we have to keep our pace fast, more agile to adopt the quick changes. And overall, and when we have enterprise architecture, there are two things that we have to bring it together. One is just like what my role is, data and data-centric approach. And the business, now we're talking about usually data-driven business, using data to make decision. And the whole enterprise architecture should think about this, not just store, integrate, or let it data connect to each other. We should think one more step. How do we have capability to analyze the data or extract insights from the data? The other thing is that what is security? The security requirement goes so high. We have many digital technologies coming up. The security part, we have to think at the first place already. The enterprise architecture should be embedded to our architectures, not just at a gatekeeper at the end to check whether your system is safe or not. It should be embedded into your whole architecture design. That all the different things we shaping our architecture bring new requirement to us. I may give our example. For example, TOGAF, and notice that you may think about enterprise architectures is a long-term blueprint, may not be that agile, but actually it's when you go into the internet or the TOGAF website that there's agile enterprise architectures happening. We are talking about already. And how do we adopt the agile spin into a TOGAF ADM? There's already document or sharing or practical how we use it in here. So enterprise architectures, we shaping, we hope that we can adopt in an agile environment. And for the EA, another is how we not just the technical part, but the mindset part. From previous panelists, we use it at EA as a guardrail, and not just approval and reviewing process. The EA should enabling the business, not a gatekeeper or regulation that you have to follow. Otherwise, you will not be approved or your project will be held. We should be thinking as an enabler to them. This is how we the digital technologies we shape our enterprise architecture. The second part, how does it impact to our talent or our user or employees? Since it is changing, they are engaging in new technologies already. One of the very obvious examples is Gen AI. It's so popular and they can adopt the new technologies already. Our employees or our users have to open to adopt the new solutions. On the other hand, from the business side, from the enterprise side, newcomer or young people may be more easy to get it, but from the person or employee who work for a long time in the organization, we have to make sure that their capabilities should be aligned. We have to provide enough training for them. Taking about my example is for example data. Then we provide training to our users, not just technology wise or hard skills about how to use it. we teach them how to the mindset about the data, how to use the data, the soft skills. So no matter how the new technology is coming, that they have the data mindset, they can adopt the new tools easier, rather than learn a new tools and then suddenly another tools coming out, they have to learn it again. But we use it, the soft skill, to train our users' capability rather than teaching them the hard one. That's one of the things that we are doing. Thank you.
Insightful, Justy. I can see the interplay between the technology architecture and the workforce development is clearly complex and dynamic. Sorry, I just pause here. So everyone, if you have any questions for the panelists, please type your question in the Q&A the box. Thank you. So we are currently, I can see one question is already raised. Later we will answer that question, and feel free to raise more questions if you want. Now pass to Dr. Kenneth. How can the business organizations efficiently enable their workforce to embrace and benefit from the rise of digital technologies?
I think this is an interesting topic because I think as Aaron mentioned in his opening keynote, right? I mean, lack of training is one of the 8 key pitfalls why some digital transformation fails, right? I mean, obviously, people is a very important component in the organization value delivery. That's really critical, right? That any digital transformation should also address this particular aspect, ensuring you get the right people to operate and also to support. But I think enablement is a very broad topic, right? And more often than not, it's sort of like an HR topic, right? Rather than like a IT or EA, right? But I think for the current ways of working, right? I mean, with digital at large, and HR sometimes needs a lot of help from IT to really understand the impact to the workforce, as well as like what's going to come up in kind of like the next couple of years, right? Both from the broader technology landscape and as well as what are the changes, right, in the organization technology landscape. I think we potentially we can look into a few areas, right, as an EA, and most likely would need to collaborate with our HRs, right, to see how we can have more efficiency in terms of our enablement initiatives. First thing is working out the future relevancy, right? I mean, EA is the kind of like the person who has an overview of the business architecture, as well as what are the coming changes to it. And it's really up to like EA and HR to sort of work together, right, to identify what are the kind of the people capability that we need to complement the new technology portfolio, not just for the plans, right, but also sort of to drive the future growth in terms of innovations, in terms of the next wave of changes to come. And I think it is that there's always going to be some gaps, right? But HR may not know or be able to sort of understand what these gaps exactly are, and there's always this technology kind of knowledge that could help HRs to sort of find the right enablement programs, or sometimes find the right people as well. Second thing is, I think when it comes to enablement, right, we need to look into both the operational needs, right? In terms of if you roll out a new system, you need to make sure your people are well trained to use it, right? But these are kind of like tactical trainings, but there's also I believe there's a need for a general digital literacy, so that you can enable further innovations in the organization. For example, like you can get Microsoft to train you on how to use Copilot, right, or on your Word, Excel, whatever, right? But how do you actually help the business, say, to get more business, right, from it? It's something that needs to come from the organization itself, right? I mean, because every business is unique, and every person's every role is also unique. Technology is technology, right? How do you sort of connect the two? Then it's always the people who does that, right? And we need to sort of enable the people so that they have the right level of understanding of technology, what I can do for them, not just for today, but also for the future. I mean, that's also, I think, a very important thing when we take into consideration of planning enablement. I think the last thing I just want to talk about is we need to make sure that enablement is not a one-off thing. I mean, you can easily sort of drop like a campaign, a promotion, you get a lot of people on training on various technologies, but nothing's going to, it's not a static picture. Right? I mean, organization continues to change. People come in, people go away, and also our digital transformation initiatives, as Jesse also just mentioned, right? It's not going to be like a one, you draw 1 5-year roadmap and you just stick to it, right? It will keep changing. The needs will keep changing, and we need to make sure we also keep our enablement plans up to date so that it is also relevant to the organization. And also that there needs to be some loop back mechanisms, right? Just like our IT portfolio, the enablement also needs continuous improvements. I think these are some of the what I can sort of share in my view, and also from my experience in the past few years executing the digital transformation.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. So effective combined and dynamic strategies for workforce enablement are clearly crucial in this digital age. Now, Alecia, so how can we better architect transformation with enterprise architects?
Thanks, Michael. So with enterprise architect, right, we can align the business with people and technology. So EA start with an end in mind, right? We look at where are we now and what is our future and how do we architect the journey from now to the future. So the question is, how do we architect this journey, right? And I also see in the Q&A that there is a questions on especially the people, right? As we introduce digital solutions, transformation, some of the job will get impacted and some of the tasks might get eliminated as well, right? So people are worried about it. So how do we make this happen so that people know, if people start to know about the big pictures, they know how the transformation journey is moving through and how it affects their job. This will help them better understand how do they stand. And of course, when we talk about the people part, that is where they will need to know, will their job be changed and how can they move from here to the future. So first, what we need to do is when we architect our journey is that we need to identify the business capability required to deliver our future business, right? And we need to see what is the gap. Like for example, if we today want to move our physical storefront to online, we need to know what is the capability that enable online store. So one way is to look at what is the how do we deliver the online inquiry management? How do we deliver the inventory and also the delivery management as part of the business capability? So secondly, we will look into the technology capability to support the business capability. So for the example of online business, we will need to ensure how new technologies such as online ordering system and online payment system will help us to enable the technology capability. Right? Third is the people. People is the most important part to deliver the business capability, and they are the one who are going to use the technology to support the business capability. So we need to identify who can, answer the online inquiry using the online system, for example. So we need to get them to train not only the technical skill, but also the soft skills and also the ability to be able to help to answer online inquiry, which is very different from a physical storefront, for example. So if we can paint the pictures of how we get from one end to the other, what are the capability that we need to deliver and what are the missing one and what are the technology that we are moving through, plus also looking at how can we enable our people. So if we can paint the big pictures, so some of this resistance can be reduced, right? And I believe that not only when we evaluate our initiative, not only that we are looking into our business value and also our strategy, we are also looking into the capability and gaps so that we can have an entire digital roadmap that to travel from one state to the other. That's my answer. Thanks, Michael.
Excellent, Alecia. So I can see EA's roles in aligning business, technology, and the people capabilities is evidently crucial. Chai Feng, how could the enterprise architect can inspire foresights and provide some insights and also enable some oversights?
Okay, so maybe I will just share my learning in running this enterprise architecture. My bosses asked me many times, what is the value of EA? So basically a team of us come together substantiating what exactly are we doing. So the oversight, I would say that because at EA, we actually take an integrated approach. We are always at the enterprise level. We take a holistic approach, or sometimes we call it system approach. We don't only look at IT, we really take the mind of the CEO or the CFO or the COO, and then how the organization can be run more effectively and efficiently. So basically, we provide a holistic approach, and therefore, we actually are a very strategic arms to help the bosses to find some area that we can better govern, may it be enterprise risk or even business value across different business unit, or to enable some business or technical architecture that ensure consistency so that we are able to ensure it is fit, coherent, as well as optimized. So I think that we will frame it all under an oversight role for an EA architect. And on the inside role, I would say that EA, because we apply a lot of strategic thinking, system thinking, optimization is definitely, just now Alecia talked about the optimization, and identify strategic business values that we want to deliver. And the insight will be important for us to observe across, and then to find some integration point. And if some of the business can integrate together, it might create a new, more strategic capability or doing things in a much effective way. And this is where we are able to identify gaps, and we are able to even provide the solution, for some of these gaps that we observe, and ensure, less overlap. Sometimes I can understand we need to allow certain level of overlapping because of certain turf issues, right? But we can slowly encourage, harmonization, and then ensure that we are able to better streamline the systems and the development efforts as we deliver a more robust and adaptable system. So the last of all, I would say that EA architect, I think it's important for us because we are able to foresee what are the technology coming our way. So we basically are able to project some foresight, of some new capability, leveraging on some technology that can seed some new so-called good emerging capability for the organization. So I think this is where we are able to drive some new strategic business values. So the foresight will therefore be like keeping abreast. We ourselves must keep abreast of the technology trends, and not only trends and concept, but also the example, the ideas, that are relevant. The relevancy is very important, and then to make sure that the bosses are able to appreciate the initiative, and we are able to suggest better solution and harmonize and rally people to work together for a better good for the organization. So I will stop here.
Thank you, Chai Feng. So I can see the value and the strategic roles of the enterprise architects in guiding the organization transformation is certainly have many different aspects. So finally, Justy, can you share some concrete examples where the strategic alignment of the enterprise architecture and the workforce evolution has led to exceptional results, and how can the business leverage this symbiotic relationship to enhance their competitiveness in the increasing digital marketplace? Sorry, you are on mute.
Yeah, sure. Let me take an example that a project that we recently encountered and launched successfully. And as all you know, Gen AI last year is very hot topic, and users trying to adopt it. User is using it by their personal device, their phone. They use it for their personal use. At that moment they already asked us how, why, and when enterprise can provide similar service to them. So they're pulling us to the new technologies. One of the case that marketing department actually raised a project request to us to see whether our public website, customer website, which is using a chatbot, a rule-based chatbot, developed several years ago, whether we can use a Gen AI solution to replace it, to provide a better customer service. So when it comes to us, it's a project. If we don't have an enterprise architecture approach, we just find using OpenAI, ChatGPT to replace it. That's it. We see the benefit. We see the project benefit. We see the customer benefit to this. But when we adopt the enterprise architecture approach, we make a pause to think about what kind of whether Gen AI or is a strategic technology to us, to the council, to our company. Will it be adopted in other areas? Is it from the architecture view, is this only the single application that we have to use? So we make a pause and think about it, whether it is just a pure website chatbot replacement or another thing. When we discuss and then decide the architectures and then think about it, we expand the scope. We build a chatbot platform which can leverage by the public website, internal policy, or other recommendations. So from a user requirement, we expand it, use our enterprise again to align to our strategic. So with that platform, we build it. We will be long term, and because we think about the enterprise architectures and the technology change so differently. At the early beginning, we may think about OpenAI, ChatGPT, later Google, Gemini, Vertex AI, and then some Chinese company have the LLM model tools. Because we use the enterprise architecture approach, when we design, we're not just thinking about ChatGPT, we think about different kind of LLM that we can plug into it. So and ongoing, then we can easily put into different LLM models already. So with this example, then we can see that we can leverage the architectures, enterprise architecture, align the business. And we provide the business needs, we can easily provide to them, and then at the same time, we can build a long-term strategic approach. For that particular project, we actually is doing for the customer website, we complete in 4 months, 400K amount of documents, pages, and in the chatbot. And in the old days, that rule-based, we can't do 400K of documents, that's too much. And then we took 1.5 years. That's quite different. So that you can see that the new solution, new technologies with the agile enterprise architecture or new architectures that we can meet the strategic capabilities. And this is really help to us. From the business side, if we have a adaptive established EA, then when the new solution come to us, they can easily feel comfort to engage us and to ask for a solution that we can easily deliver to them. So that it will for them, we are building is not EA is not just a gatekeeper to them. So that's my example.
Thank you, Justin, for those enumerating the examples and the strategy, especially the AI parts. Okay, thank you all for those insightful sharings. We now have some time for the questions from our audience. So currently I can see one question from anonymous attendee. So see if anyone who wants to reply this question. So I just repeat this question. So for many, an EA program can be seen as a double-edged sword that streamlines organizations and eventually eliminates IT systems and internal job roles. So for the fear leads to further resistance to slow EA and its adoption. So what are the ways you would suggest to overcome this? So I know some of us already partially answered this, but we still want our panelists that can give some insights. How about anyone want to answer this question?
Let me try. So I think that's something that we that also happened to us, right? When I first sort of started up the EA initiatives, right? I mean, there was sometimes it's not resistance, right? But just reluctancy, or they just don't want to prioritize spending the time to give you the input, right? They might not be actually trying to block it, or they but some of them might be kind of like just don't know what you're trying to do, right? So they don't spend the time for you. But I think for EA programs, right, it's quite rarely an isolated thing, right? It's usually part of a kind of broader, business imperatives, right? That they need an EA program to support it. So it is something that can be easily explained why you need to do that to anyone. And then for when it comes to like digital transformation, like EA program under it, right? It's not always about streamlining, right? It's also about building new capabilities or transforming existing capabilities. I mean, there are always going to be some legacy things that will be replaced, but then that's why enablement is important. It's important, right? I mean, for organization, right? It is actually much better if the older guys can learn the new things than trying to just replace a person, right? Because he has the knowledge, he has the relationship with a lot of people. It's only people who cannot sort of keep up with the changes, right? That they decide to leave. But I think as an organization, right, you give them the support, you give them the opportunities to adopt the new skills, right? Which would actually because you're replacing something always something new, right? This new thing is what will keep you going in your career. It's not the old system, right? I mean, it's really just a personal sort of decision, right? Whether you see that as a negative thing or an opportunity for something better. But I think that there's always going to be the case, right? There are going to be some people who are not as collaborative as you hope. That's why it's very important to you really have executive support for your EA initiatives, right? Sometimes it just has to be top down, just like any system implementation program, right? If you're the head of department of the system, he's playing along you, right? Then someone going to do the testing, and then your project just fails. There's always going to be executive support needed, and then it comes down to individual decisions.
Chai Fang here. Maybe I attempt from another angle on this. I think let's say one of the staff are already a few more years to retirement, and now you want to take away his system, and then he has to learn new skill. I think you will face a lot of challenge with some of this kind of stuff. Indeed, it is a real issue, and my sense is that I face situation like this. In fact, what I will do is that I will actually bring them into some focus group. I basically listen to them, hear them up, because I think they need to have a voice. And usually I will consolidate their ideas, and then even when we formulate the change, we will give credit to this group of people to say that it is from them, and the visibility will go all the way to a right level that they can be appreciated. And sometimes we even give them innovation award. And then I think we have to motivate different kind of people at different level of, I would say, maturity of wanting to adopt change. So different strategy, different stroke for different folks. So I think it's also for enterprise architect to understand, know your people, know their hearts, because I think bottom line, they work so long for the organization. They do love the organization. They also want the organization to do well. So, but how do we communicate that change on them and help them to move along with us, as we go, and also acknowledge their contribution. So I would say like that. Thank you.
And just to share one example I've seen in the past, right? I've been in a client's project, right, where they sort of kind of like an outsourcing project, right, and they sort of cut down sort of a third of the IT workforce. I mean, it sounds very, very bad, right? I mean, those people have been working there for over 20 years, right, and now you're taking the jobs away. But in the end, right, I mean, obviously they're working with the older technology, but there's always going to be some people out there who are still using those technologies, right? And those guys actually got a better job in the end, right? Better salary and all that, because that's just where the demand is, right? And because of the older technologies, sometimes it's harder to find people. And there's all, it's kind of like a self-balancing thing on the job market.
Yeah.
Um,
Alecia, anyone?
I think this is really real. When you talk about cutting, I mean, I always believe that transparency is important. People look at the entire picture, that's one thing. But for individual, it's about their job actually at the end of the day, right? So recently, I also involved in some transformation project, and we noticed that a lot of job tasks being reduced and gone, especially the administrative part. So what we learn to do is to actually work together with other department head to see how individual skill can be retrained and also reskill. And sometimes we might even need to redeploy them to other areas where it is related. So that is very real. And the other one that we also see when we do some of the because the outcome of an EA is actually a transformation initiative, right? So sometimes people might feel that it's not only to individual, but we also encounter some departmental head or even C-level that is resisting because for the reasons that some of the department might need to merge or some of the department's function might be different. So that can be huge reactions when we don't handle it properly. So I agree that top out is important, which I really think so. But it is also transparency to let people know what is the changes. And more importantly, it's not only the change, but I think you also need to prepare with the solution to the change. So that when people feel uncertain, they need to know what is the future, right? Whether it's for themselves or for their departments. I think that should work out upfront.
Okay, cool. Yes, thanks for those excellent sharing. So can see the AI, at least at this stage, still like helping us or enhance or improve our efficiencies. Yeah, so as long as we are embracing them, right? So don't be afraid of them. So now that's as we wrap up our session, I like each of our panelists to share their key learning points or takeaway or advice for our audience. Let's start from Chai Feng.
So I keep it short. Basically, I will urge everybody that whatever you do, don't do just because of the methodology or you need to push certain thing. But I think do it that's beneficiary to your stakeholders. Be intentional and make the execution simple and easy. I think that's very important. Transparency is very useful. And I think always have the people in our hearts to bring them along with us in our digital transformation. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Chai Feng. Alecia, what advice would you like to share?
Sorry. Just one sentence only for me. Do architect your transformation journey to make it successful.
Okay, excellent. Alecia, okay, Justy, so what are your key takeaways for our audience?
So the technology changes it will be more fast and more impacting to different areas. Definitely will happen. So that get ready to it and then prepare for the change. And not only the technologies, but also the people.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Justy. And finally, Dr. Kenneth, so what advice would you like to leave us with?
Yeah, I would say communication is a very, very important thing for enterprise architect. I mean, for both the objectives, the changes, as well as there's a lot of people aspect to it, right? I mean, you can have the perfect system, but if it's not communicated correctly, then you don't get the right result.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So thank you all for those valuable insight and advice. To summarize our session, we've explored the critical roles of the EA in enabling digital transformation, the challenges that organization facing, and how technology can address global issues. So we've discussed the reshaping the enterprise architect by evolving the technologies, strategies for workforce enablement and alignment of business, technology, and people capabilities. So we've also examined the strategic roles of EA and seen concrete examples of successful alignment between enterprise architecture and the workforce evolution. So this discussion has truly highlighted the symbiotic or relationship between the EA enterprise architecture and the workforce evolution in driving the organization success.